Hello, I'm Jesse Elaine, and I just wanted to give you an introduction to the Melodic Lines for Improvisation series of videos. So this series is designed to be able to give you more confidence in your own playing, your own improvising specifically. So I showed you that example I just played because these are the things that you would want to be able to eventually do, is take a simple chord progression. Eventually you can accompany yourself with chords in between lines, and you can extend from chord progression, one chord change like this. These are like Dorian ideas, right? So A bass note, C triad, G, C, E, and then A, D, F sharp over an A bass. Then go down a whole step. That's a G Dorian. So I set that up, right? That's A, G. Get bluesy with it. So those are things you want to experiment with. The goal of the melodic lines for improvisation is not necessarily just to copy the lines and regurgitate them when you're improvising. It's more to make you more freely creative in a spontaneous situation like that. So, coming up with chord progressions, playing over those chord progressions, and even plugging those chord progressions into a sequencer at first is really good practice. Using a looper to play your chords, and then having those repeat over and over again while you practice both the lines that are in the Melodic Lines series and the chord progressions and lines that you come up with yourself. Those are excellent ways to practice. I also recommend playing the chord progressions that you come up with, and figuring out lines and committing them to paper or some kind of software notation program where you can really pick them apart and analyze what you're doing. If you like the sound of something, it's important to figure out what it is you're doing so that you can repeat that idea again in another way at another time. So for example, if I liked one of these lines, there's a lot of emphasis of that F sharp there, so that's over an A minor. That's implying this minor 13 idea, which is of course the Dorian thing, that natural sixth over the minor versus the flat sixth, which is a natural. That's natural minor, that's Dorian, right? So flat 7, natural 6, little hammer-on thing there. Back to the root. I'm not sure exactly what I did, but there's a G sharp in there for you melodic minor fans. Who's to say you can't sprinkle a little melodic minor? It's a wonderful thing about minor scales is you can interchangeably shift between one and the other, and it really still works and sounds good. But that's beside the point. The point is, with melodic lines for improvisation, you want to get to the point where you've played those lines, you feel comfortable with those lines, you've transposed them, and you're able to get that concept, the movement of the fingers and the theoretical ideas that you figure out by analyzing these lines and by watching the videos, because we talk about that. And really just starting to create your own voice in terms of improvising. I know everybody says that, especially in the jazz community. You hear a lot of people say, well, it's really not about copying other people, it's about getting your own voice and your own sound, aside from transcribing and obviously listening and copying other people. But the idea there is that you want to be able to start being really creative from you, and that's something that's hard for a lot of people, especially on a pattern-based instrument like the guitar, where we're playing all these sequences and things that are very repetitive and based on visualization. And that's why everybody tends to sound the same at first, is because they're all kind of doing the same thing. But once you start learning all those cliche things and realizing how you can change them into your own style, that's when you can start to sound unique. So I would recommend going through the lines, getting comfortable with them, playing your favorite ones more because they're probably more fun for you, and then doing things like that. It's excellent practice to play a chord and then play a line. B flat 13 is my chord. So I'm hearing those things as I go. There's some cliches in there. That's very cliche, right? I heard that. And on the ninth, there's all kinds of cool things. Those are things I think of, but you're going to come up with things that you would think of, and that'll make you into a creative and better improviser. So enjoy the videos, and we'll see you soon.